It's your call. You can enjoy the fresh baked quality from Domino's Pizza or take your chances with the Noid. You can have pizza made to your order, or you can count on our famous 30-minute delivery, or you can taste the quality from Domino's Pizza, so avoid the Noid. Domino's Pizza delivers. Call now.
Welcome to another episode of Did We Need This? We're going to find out if, in fact, we did need this. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Johnny Townsend. I'm joined by Mr. Andrew Lenz.
Yes, hello. I love doing these because there's so many video games out there. I'm so glad once again you brought this to me and asked to do this with me, that we take a look at these licensed properties and think about, did we need this?
Yeah,
And,
did we need this? That's a great question. We're answering that question for everybody. This is a public service we're providing.
it is. It is. We are doing the Lord's work.
We are. Yes. If this doesn't get me into heaven, then I don't know what will. This right here. This, of course, is where we take in each episode a licensed property video game and we decide, did we need this? We're going to find out today. I'm very excited to discuss today's game. Andrew, what game are we talking about today?
We're talking about Yo Noid for this, or I almost said Super Nintendo, for the Nintendo Entertainment System. And I remember seeing this as a kid and thinking, wow, the Noid, because this is what, early 90s, the Noid?
Yeah.
Domino?
Yeah.
Void the Noid, 30 minutes or less. Let's get the pizza going, and here he is. He's got his own video game. What makes anything better than the Noid?
Yeah, there's a big dark history actually with the Noid and why he went away.
Yes.
Pretty tragic, honestly. But this is in the heyday of when a company mascot could get a video game. He wasn't the only one that got one. I definitely remember Spot from 7-Up having his own game.
Yes.
I remember the Cheetos Cheetah having a couple games, I think. Pepsi Man has his own game. I'm sure it's a Japanese game. I don't think it ever came to America, but you can find it and play it. It's for the PlayStation. That's a very interesting game. So all these games are various degrees of good or bad. We'll find out how Yo Noid stacks up. I'm very excited to talk about this game. During my childhood, I was definitely aware of the Noid. Obviously, those commercials ran all the time, right? They were everywhere. This was back, in my opinion, before Domino's got good with their pizza. They're a lot better now, I think. But the Noid was a fixture on the television. You saw this annoying. What would you even describe him as, Andrew?
Guy in a red bunny rabbit outfit.
I think. I feel like it's
I'm looking at a picture.
Yeah, he's maybe an actual human troll in a bunny rabbit costume, something like that.
I'm trying to think what he reminds me of now. Like when I see, you know what he kind of reminds me of? If Arthur from The Tick had like an evil twin. Without the moth wings. Without the moth wings.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, for sure.
But
very annoying character.
Yeah, and the commercials were classic because I believe they were that's when claymation was all the rage.
Yes.
Never thought.
I kind of missed that. I missed that, honestly. But yeah, the Noid was everywhere, and it was called Yo Noid. This game, though, I don't think I ever actually played it until, the last couple of years, honestly.
I have never played it up until this week of just, testing it out to see, did we need this?
Yeah.
I've seen it. I was like, wow, there's the Noid. And then NES kind of went by the wayside, as we all know. Go look up the dark history of the Noid.
Yeah.
And why he went away. So after that, it was he was like Spud McKenzie. He was an afterthought to me. There's another mascot. He did not get a video game, which I am shocked.
Yeah, if you're during the time of the Noid, if you didn't know what happened, you actually just think he just disappeared
Mhm.
because they kind of just suddenly stopped using him. It felt very sudden, and all of a sudden they just went a different direction completely. But there was a time when he was a very prominent fixture on television. You would see him all the time. He was up there with any of your other big time commercial mascots that you would see.
I thought they were going to bring him back at one point, but I guess they decided not to because
They lightly did because I think he was on a recent commercial, but they didn't go anywhere else past that. I don't think. I only remember one commercial, maybe two tops that they did with him recently.
I think he also had a toy.
He definitely had a toy. I definitely
Okay.
remember that. Yeah,
That's what
There's definitely a toy. I think it was like one of those bendy type toys. If I'm thinking
Yeah.
right. It was like a figure, but you can bend his arms and legs, type of thing. But the video game, what's going to surprise I think a lot of people even more is this was made by who, Andrew?
Capcom. Capcom was like, you know what? Let's make a Yo Noid game. And I found out because I did I learned a lesson from Trevor. You should always look at the instruction manual. And
Yep.
in the game, you got a $1 off coupon for Domino's Pizza.
That's
Big.
just smart.
That's big. That's big.
You
The only
paid
other-
$60 for this game, by the way, if you got it new, to get $1 off pizza.
The only other video game I've ever seen where you get money off of pizza was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade game. So
That's right. Yep. And that just made sense too. Was that how much was that off? Do you remember?
I don't even remember. It was like a coupon in there,
Yeah.
and it was.
It might have been like a percentage type. I definitely remember there was a coupon. I just wish I could remember how much it was for.
I remember that. And when you get to the Pizza Hut signs in the game, you have to move back because there's foot soldiers underneath there.
That's right. That's right. But one thing about this game, Yo Noid here is, I'm going to assume if you're playing this, especially back in the day, if you bought this, you know who the Noid is. You're very aware of what the Noid represents. Yet during the whole time I played this game, and on top of that, we'll get into it. But let's just say I didn't get very far on my own, and I had to see what else happened in this game. So I watched video of other people playing it, and I never once remembered seeing the word Domino's anywhere.
Okay. Thank you. From what I've played, I was thinking the same thing. Just to kind of jump ahead, I'm guessing at the end of each level, you do a pizza eating competition.
That's right, yeah. This game tries to throw in little mini games, I guess you would call them, and that's one of the prominent ones. Is the pizza eating competition where your Noid is going up against another Noid, and you got to eat more pizza than they do. But you're doing this in front of a pizza place, and the place just says pizza.
Yeah.
Why don't you just put Domino's right there?
Yes, and there's nothing there, and it's just this black background with you and another Noid, and you're just trying to see who can eat the most pizza. And the premise of the game is just so weird too, as well, that
Oh yeah,
you're in New York City, and I don't know who Mr. Green is. They're having havoc, so the mayor of New York City decides to call upon the Noid. Last time I checked, as a comic book fan, you still have the Fantastic Four. You have Spider-Man.
the Ninja Turtles are in the sewers there.
Yes, you got the X-Men, but you call the Noid. How big of a problem is this? I mean,
you really need help when you go as far as the Noid. That's when you're in some trouble.
I was just looking at this, and when I first put it on and started playing, I'm like, oh, okay, this wasn't bad. And then this fish, I think in the first level, it jumps up, and then it goes back down.
Yeah.
So my video game logic is it's gonna come at the same spot.
Right, yeah. So
So
you would think.
I can keep on moving. Oh no, it moves, and then it comes up.
All right, well, before we get to the game bit heavy-handed,
Yeah.
Before playing it and kind of putting yourself back in the day of the early 90s when this came out, let's kind of try to answer that question. Do we think we needed this back then, Andrew?
I am gonna say shockingly yes. in a way. Just because of how big of a dork I was as a kid. Because it was the Noid. What is this? 1990 it came out.
Yeah.
So I'm like 7, 8 years old. I don't know any better. It's on Nintendo, so I see the Noid on TV.
Yeah. We love pizza, right? Reminds you of pizza. That's always a good thing.
Ninja Turtles, Domino's, Pizza Hut, Noid. The commercials are fun, so why not make a video game out of it?
Yeah, and I'm a sucker for a platformer. So I know I laugh at you, but I'm in complete agreement. Back then, I would be totally on board for this.
I would, yeah. I don't see why you wouldn't do this.
Yeah. It seems like a no-brainer, right?
If I'm thinking like an 8-year-old and going through this, 7, 8-year-old, I'm like, yeah, why would you not make a Noid video game? This is the dumbest idea in the world.
Why haven't we had this already?
Yeah.
Would be my question.
Exactly. I mean, you have DuckTales and everything else at this, I believe, at around this point too. So why not have the Noid?
And you get one of the better at that time companies.
Yes.
Who had a great pedigree of games, like you were saying, like the Disney afternoon games. Those are all, for the most part, fairly fantastic. So let's just keep adding to that. You're getting a great company making this game. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? As the great another cartoon mascot once said, what could possibly go wrong? All right, so let's kind of get into what happened when we played it now, right?
Okay.
You were mentioning the fish, and I want to present to you this. I don't know why in these NES days, no character, no matter who it is, in any platformer, except for when there is an actual water level, because then all of a sudden they knows how to swim.
Thank you. And that first level was so, I wouldn't say confusing, but annoying.
Annoying. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. There you go. Annoyed. Yeah. So, if I'm playing a platformer, I'm going off of the logic of Mario. That first board is going to teach you something. There might be a beginner's trap, but it's going to be short. It's going to be sweet.
Yeah. It's just kind of hello, welcome. This is what this game is.
Yes.
Level. Yeah.
Yo Noid is like, guess what? You get one hit. And you're done. And I forgot, we're going to start you off with the level moving up and down from the water. And if you're the one platform that does go underwater and you start jumping to it as it's rising is not completely above the water, you're dead.
If you dip your toe into this water, you have drowned.
Yes. And it is absolutely annoying. That's how a lot of my deaths did happen on the first level.
Same here, yeah. And then once I did get used to it, I did kind of get into a rhythm with it. But there are definitely certain parts for a first level, honestly, it seemed a bit ridiculous, where they purposely knew you would die there, right? I wasted many annoyed going through his first level. But Andrew, that's okay. That just means the next level is going to be much better, right? It's just going to be a huge improvement.
Can we talk about his weapon too? Like, why a yo-yo?
Oh yes, yeah.
Why a yo-yo? Like, I was like,
did he have those in the commercial? I don't remember.
I don't either. Why are you not throwing pizzas or pepperoni or various pizza toppings in the scroll? Those little scroll things. I hate the fact that you have to bust it open, the bigger ones, to use that power.
Yeah,
like,
and why is it one of the collectibles a pizza box, a Domino's pizza box?
Like there is literally nothing Domino's or pizza related other than the pizza competition, and you have the Noid. Nothing.
And there's so many places you could have easily put something Domino's in there.
And why do you start off at a fishing wharf? Like, is there any other? Once again, why not start off inside of a pizza parlor? And there's, pizza toppings coming out.
The only time pizza even comes into play is the times when you're having the pizza eating contest, which you could argue are just kind of slammed into the game.
Yes. And there's just there's just so much more. And like I said, I'm going to wait till a little bit of the end on how what I would envision on it, because I do have some sort of vision. But you were saying about the second level, which is absolutely horrible too.
You know, a lot of your platformers will have an ice level, right? I mean, Mario's definitely had them, but they won't give it to you the second level in. However, the Yo Noid says, we do things different over here. And second level in, you're sliding on ice. And it is a giant pain in the ice. I lost many a Noid on it. And frankly, quite honestly, never got past it. I got so mad that I just quit.
After I've played this game, I've never had, say, like an angry video game nerd moment.
Right. Yeah.
Since I've gotten older, like I'm gonna play a game and I'm gonna play it for the fun of it. Yo Noid has Yo Noid me to the point where I was swearing. I'm pretty sure people walking by my house were about to call the police because they were like, what is going on in there? As I'm yelling at birds and fishermen and fish and everything else in this game, and stupid polar bears and little, and
your attack is really weak, by the way.
Yes. Why is there no upgrade? Why is there no upgrade between the levels? Why did it go from me hitting something once to me having to stand there and going do like 10 times to knock out the hockey playing polar bear? How do we go from a guy with a fishing spear to a hockey playing polar bear?
I mean, it makes sense. Dominoes, right?
And the other thing that kind of got to me is when you start the level, it says singles only. Did you see that?
I did.
And I'm thinking to myself, do they mean dollars or do they mean like at this hockey rink or whatever this is?
It's a singles night.
Yeah, is it a singles night?
You're going to see hockey and speed date. That's the two things you get to do. Oh man. Here's how I want to break this down, Andrew. We've been fairly negative. I think we should also strive to be some positives here. Right. I liked that this game has an overworld map. I always like it when games do that. This does that. B, you can tell graphically it's a decent looking Capcom game, right? Graphically, this game looks pretty good.
The music isn't bad.
Right, yeah.
I'll give it the music. I found it kind of weird, but I do kind of like in the same light when he throws the yo-yo, his face changes, like he's like goofy old looking Noid, but the minute he throws that yo-yo, he's like, like
he's a very mean Noid.
Yeah, very Noid. Very angry. Guess you could say he's Yo Noid. I'm gonna just start saying that to people when they were like, "Oh, you annoy me. Are you Yo Noid?" Yeah. But that's what I gotta get. I do like the secret ability because most games don't give you a secret ability. So I like that when you hit down and B.
Yeah, you clear the screen of the enemies.
Yeah, I didn't notice too much between the two attacks, and the instruction manual gives you like, hey, this is this attack, this is that attack. So, but I did like that. But that's it. And I would have to say the best part is the graphics and the music.
Yeah, I would definitely say the graphics, even above the music, is by far the best part. And that's despite the fact that you don't see the word Dominoes anywhere near this game.
You don't even see it on the box.
I don't
on the
get
instruction manual.
Was it completely a separate license? Did Domino's not have the license for Yo Noid?
They gotta have something because they put a dollar in there. The only thing I could think about that was different is it looks like this might have been a reskin of a Japanese game.
Oh, that's not a shocker. That happened quite often.
Yeah, it looks like it's a reskin of a Japanese game called, oh my goodness, Kamen no Ninja Hiruno.
That sounds perfect.
Yes. And Capcom teamed up with Domino's Pizza to promote the company mascot, changing a lot of the graphics, sound, and presentation.
See, that's what I don't understand. If you're Domino's, why aren't you saying giving them notes like, "Hey, put Domino's here." That's all you got to do. Just put Domino's on the freaking pizza place.
But it doesn't look. The levels look different. This game looks way more fun than Yo Noid.
It probably is. I wouldn't doubt it.
I can tell you that much.
All right, so I'm going to tell you this, Andrew, because I don't think you got there, and I didn't get there either. But I did watch a video of somebody who played it fairly long, and I watched it way longer than I should have. That pizza eating contest is not the only mini game in this game. There's also a version of whack-a-mole in this game. Yeah. That you get the joy of playing. I'm sure it's a blast. It looked like a lot of fun.
What? There's just, I just feel like there was more. Like I've normally with Top Gun, I wanted to see the end. When we did Top Gun, I wanted to see this. This game frustrated me to the point where I looked at to see how people won the pizza eating competition, and then I played it and I beat it, got to the ice level, and I was just so I gotta stop saying annoyed, but I was so yo noid that I was like, I'm done with this game. I'm done. Like I would just turn it off and I'd put on a good game because I felt like I needed to cleanse my palate of this game. And I look at the ratings and stuff that it gets, and people rate this game so high, but
well, I think that's because it does have some things going for it, right?
Yeah.
A, like we said, it's a Capcom game. B, it's a platformer, and I think a lot of people give platformers a lot of leeway. I mean, I do, if I'm being honest, because I just love them so much. So they don't really take into account that this game, the reason that the Mario games on the Nintendo are classic is because they knew how to kind of get you into the game, right? That first level is literally designed to help you understand how to play the game, right? And they slowly ratchet up the difficulty. They don't just go second level, we're putting ice underneath your feet, right? Because that is a bit ridiculous. This game just turns it on its head and says we're just going to do that right away, which is really weird because in other Capcom platforming games, I'm looking at you, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers 1 and 2, they don't do that.
Oh.
And those are much better games. Just going to toss that out there.
The only Capcom game I think I've ever played where the first level is like, what am I getting into? But you get to choose which level is Mega Man.
Yeah.
But
But Mega Man, once you played it, you kind of figure out the best order to go in, right? Once you get used to it, and there's also strategy guides you can look at, say, hey, you need to go in this order to slowly build yourself up so you get better and better. And so it does have a way it makes making sense. It just actually gives you the actual choice, which this obviously does not do. You have to go whatever level's next.
And Mega Man's much cooler than the Noid.
100%. That's not even a contest.
Like I think that's what got me. If this was probably any other game, I would have been like, okay, I can stick at it and I'm going to keep on going. But the fact that it's the Noid, and then you get to that second level and they don't upgrade your weapons or do anything of that nature to make the game seem better.
Yeah.
It just really didn't make sense to me.
There's a level too, and I obviously didn't get to this level, but there's a level that's a flying level that you constantly have to hit the jump button, I believe it is, to keep yourself in the air, and it looks incredibly difficult. There's all kinds of things you're going to get hit by. Obviously, flying birds. There's bombs in the middle of the air for some reason, and spiky things in the middle of the air for some reason. So this game just is not easy. And I also think this is just my personal thing. I think a lot of people, when they review these games, look at difficulty, and if it's really super hard, they think it's a badge of honor. And they kind of give this game a little bit more juice when they're reviewing it because, hey, this game was really hard. So you got to be good to beat it. Yeah, you got to be good to beat it, but that doesn't mean the game's fun, which is what is important to me. Is this game fun? That's a different conversation.
Yeah, I don't see it being fun. And like you said, just because it's hard doesn't mean it there's got to be a mixture.
Yeah.
Mega Man is a great example. It's hard.
Yes.
but it's fun.
And it keeps you, and it gives you something every time you play it to keep coming back, right? And that's what Yo Noid does not do, in my opinion. It doesn't. I don't feel the need, the yearning to keep coming back and trying to get better. At least in Mega Man, if one level's giving you an issue, you can just try a different one and see if you can get better at that one, and then come back to the one that was giving you some hassle.
And the other thing about this is the way that the difficulty is what is this marketed to? Like we said, we're 7-8 years old. Yep. We're thinking Yo Noid. We're thinking Noid is great. If you're 7 or 8 years old, do you think you're completing that level?
Oh no, definitely not.
I'm guessing you got to be older, and if you're that old, are you really going out and be like, yeah, I'm gonna play some Yo Noid? And I'm gonna beat this. Would you rather go to school, say, as you're, get older, 10, 12 years old? Would you rather go to school and be like, I beat Contra or I beat Yo Noid? I'm pretty sure that's where I'm thinking also on this level of difficulty is it doesn't seem like it fits what it was marketed towards.
When I was going to school, we definitely would talk about video games. And I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, Yo Noid never once came up.
I don't see why you would make this into a badge of. I could see it, like you said, because of the difficulty. But other than that, I would rather beat a good game than a hard bad game.
But this is also a game that is, I would argue, not near as well known either. So if you say, hey, I beat Yo Noid, must be like, what? They wouldn't even know that it's a hard game. So your badge of honor is useless.
Yes. And I'm also thinking about this time period, and all I can think about is like in the Sandlot too. And he's like, oh, I thought you said the great Bambi. You mean that wimpy deer? I take it in that type of context. Like, oh,
yeah, which I would always argue that deer was not wimpy. He went through a lot,
Made of steel. He was made of sterner stuff.
That's right.
But I think we should get into what will we do to make Yo Noid a better game, and then answer the question, did we need this? So what would you do, Johnny, to make this a better game than what it is not?
I would tell Capcom to go look at your other platforming games and do that. I would for sure, the difficulty level, I would for sure ratchet it down. You can get to where your game is really difficult, but you don't do it right off the freaking bat. That's insane. You let people get into it. It's not like this was an arcade game. This is not the arcade. You're not trying to get people's quarters. They've already paid for your game. You've already got their 60 whatever bucks, or $59 if you want to get technical, if you go get that pizza. And, so you've already done that. Why are you punishing what will mostly be children playing this game?
Exactly. My thing is like I said, there's got to be some type of different weapon or a weapon upgrade.
Yes.
Maybe
weapon upgrade, I think, will be fantastic. That's a great idea. Let you somehow, a lot of these games back then would have that. I'm thinking right off the bat, like an Adventure Island type weapon upgrade, right? Where you start out with the weak one, but then as you're going on, you can upgrade it to much better, much more tougher, weapons that will take out, like that polar bear is a great example, right? You go from a level where it's one hit enemies to all of a sudden there's a polar bear that takes 5 hits to take them out with your yo-yo. That's wow. Why would you do that?
It doesn't make sense. And I'm thinking, keep the enemies a little bit more consistent. Like you have a human and then you have a hockey playing polar bear. That was my thing. Is I could understand the fish. The fish was good. It frustrated me to no extent. I mean, I don't think I'll ever eat fish again too, along with Domino's, but I didn't mind that. Just character consistency, and like you said, some type of board consistency. Not, we're gonna start you off with this one going up and down. And
Yeah.
I don't think did you notice you have a timer and it's always set for like 140
Yep.
or 152 seconds or something like that?
Yep. That's not needed.
No.
Now I understand, like, the Mario games have that, but they're precisely made, I would dare say, and they know what they're doing with the time they've given you. I don't think that's true in this game.
No. I look at a classic game like Burger Time, where you are running away from hot dogs. Why not do that in a piece of topping? Why not? Why do we need to make the Noid a hero? Why can't he deliver pizzas like Paperboy? Why can't he? I can think of a million different ways. Save Domino's from Mr. Green. Why is he a superhero?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions here that don't get answered.
And he's the only one that can take down Mr. Green. What are the cops doing?
Yeah.
What are the cops doing?
And why is Domino's nowhere to be seen? Give me some more.
That is,
give me some Domino's on this game. I need some Domino's, right? If you're gonna use the Domino's character, and if Domino's is behind this with Capcom, give me some freaking Domino's on this game.
they should have had a Domino's pizza, okay, up somewhere, like they have those little scrolls. You get it, and when he eats it, he can flash between red and blue and white.
Yeah.
And then there you go. You have an invincibility because you ate the Domino's pizza.
Yeah, instead of, because there is an invincibility thing and it's not a pizza at all. I can't even remember what it is. It's some weird shape. But I mean, you're right. These are just such easy fixes just to get your dang product in the game. I know a lot of times we're mad at product placement, but this game is literally the Domino's mascot running around. Put some Domino's in this game.
I think that was probably the biggest problem is I'm playing this game because I love the Noid, and Domino's is always number 2 to Pizza Hut in my mind. But I want to see that. I want to feel like it's the commercial, not just a game with the Noid slapped in there. It's how they represented like the Toys That Made Us when they were talking about trying to get out Star Wars toys. Sticker slapping. You just slapped the Noid in there and was like, hey, there's a pizza competition. Oh boy, we got to take on the local champion who looks exactly like the Noid. So how many Noids are there?
A bunch, apparently. Quite a few.
I think I'm just there's too many flaws, I feel, in this game.
Too many story inconsistencies for sure.
Yes. Like he's not a superhero.
Was it in the commercials? That's what I was about to say. In the commercials, the Noid was way more of, I mean, he kind of got his name from being an annoyance, right? He wasn't like he was going around saving people, saving the city of New York.
It was almost like a Tricks Rabbit Lucky Charms type.
Yes, exactly. Silly Noid. This pizza is for kids. It's not for you. But no, in this story, for whatever reason, he is at such a high level of being respected that the mayor of one of the biggest cities in the world calls upon him to save the city.
You have Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four, tons of superheroes. Isn't Daredevil's in there, but you get the Noid. Maybe he like wanted the Daredevil. He was like, hey, call up Daredevil to do this, and the Noid just popped up and he got the wrong red suit.
Well, in fairness, none of them had a yo-yo. That's what you need to save the day. A well-placed yo-yo shot.
And I don't know how Spider-Man would do against polar or hockey playing polar bears. So, he's taken down some pretty bad guys out there, but none have been hockey playing polar bears.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. And I also kind of think that, Domino's obviously works with other companies. Even back then, you could have like integrated a lot of stuff here, right? In your enemies, you could have definitely made them way more pizza or soda or something related than what they were.
Yeah,
but they just didn't do that. I don't know.
Label slap the crap out of it.
Yep. All right. So I guess it's time for us to answer this question, Andrew.
Gee, I wonder
where we're going to go with this. Ultimately, Andrew, did we need this?
No, on so many levels, no. As an adult, if my child brought this to me and was like, Dad, will you buy me Yo Noid? I would do exactly what my mom did to me when I would bring her stuff. I'd look at it and go, you don't need this. Put this away. Because we really didn't. We were fine without Yo Noid. Obviously, why couldn't we have the Japanese game over Yo Noid?
I am very curious about that game. I would want to try it, if I'm being honest, just to see the differences. But man, here's the thing. I wanted and wished that I needed this, because on the surface of this, if you just tell me, even approaching 40 Johnny, that there's a video game, it's a platformer, and it stars the Noid from the 90s, the pizza guy, I would be like, sign me up. That sounds fantastic. However, the actual execution and what we got here, sadly, I have to admit, even though I really wanted to need this, that I just didn't need this, and we don't need this.
No, I don't think we ever need this at all. I'm pretty sure some people really like it, and it's probably some cult hit, but
it probably is. But I would argue there are better mascot leading games out there. I definitely remember playing the Spot game. I mean, it's been a long time since I played it, but I definitely for sure remember liking it back in the day. So I'm going to assume it's better than this. Pepsi Man, which we covered on Retro Bliss, our podcast there. Go check it out wherever you get your podcast. We played Pepsi Man, and it's an easy import from Japan. It's not very expensive, at least it wasn't at the time. And even despite the fact that it's not super good, it's at least so weird and strange and kind of a goofy time that I could see it being something like, hey, if you have a buddy over, hey, let's play Pepsi Man, just to introduce him to a fun, odd, weird, goofy game, right? This one, if your game is going to be bad, you want it to be so bad that it's entertaining in how bad it is. And the Noid could have at least been that, but I don't even think it's that. It's mediocre at best, which is a big sin.
Very bad, frustrating. I would rather play McKids than this.
I would too. McKids is actually pretty good.
Yeah, it is.
Features McDonald's, by the way.
Yes, and has an actually pretty decent story compared to I Need to Save New York and I'm the Noid.
I would watch Mac and Me a million times before I would play this game again.
I think there's a lot of things. I would play Top Gun, and I would purposely crash every single time. I would rather try and refuel in Top Gun every single second.
We've only done 2 games so far for this series, but we already have a pattern where each game technically has very little to do with its actual source material. Right?
Yes.
The Top Gun game didn't really have anything to do with the movie besides jets. And this game, the only thing it has to do with Domino's is the Noid itself. And there is pizza eating contest in front of a pizza place that is not named Domino's.
It looks like some regular old pizza place. Like it should just say Joe's Pizza on it.
Yeah.
At least, okay. Here's an idea. At least have it say Joe's, and then when you win the pizza competition, Domino's moves in, or something, or Domino's, the sign goes up over the pizza place.
Yeah.
At least be like, oh, Domino's. Well, that sounds a little crazy now as an adult. Be like, oh, Domino's is taking over everything. But give me something.
Or what if every level you play, if you beat that level, you actually get to place a Domino's, right? So you're trying to put Domino's all across the city to give people what they want, which is Domino's pizza or something like that. You know, this is an easy fix because for whatever reason, the stakes that this game starts out with are way too high for the Noid.
And I hate it too because it's just like, oh, go save the city of New York. Yeah. I've done this premise before. Can we get something maybe a little bit different?
Yeah, go feed New York Domino's pizza. That's a much better premise to me. Right. But, you know, that's our take on this. I think we should turn to Trevor Franklin of Retro Bliss fame and see what his take is on the Noid.
All right, Trevor here to give my take on Yo Noid and answer the question, did we need this? Um, First of all, I was happy, I guess happy is the right word, that Johnny and Andrew said this was the game they were going to be doing this time, because I actually came this close about 20 times to picking up Yo Noid to cover for the Retro Bliss podcast to do a full episode. And so in a way, I was kind of conflicted. Like, I don't know. I think I still want to do a full episode on this, but after playing it, I did not take very many notes in my phone. And usually that's a sign that either a game's just so simple and good, it really sticks with me, or there just wasn't much to say. Um, and we'll see which one this is. But okay, just the idea of Yo Noid seems ridiculous. But I have read that this was never designed to be a Domino's game to begin with, and that is very obvious when you're playing it. It was something Ninja. It was a Japanese Famicom game, and I don't remember the name of it. I couldn't pronounce it even if I did. But clearly, it was not designed to be a Domino's game to begin with. Weirdly, though, Capcom teamed up with Capcom published this game. I don't think it was really like the Capcom development team. What was it? Now something. Now I don't remember. The developers, the actual developers, I don't think are anyone I really know much about. But Capcom teamed up with Domino's to push this Noid character. So first of all, this is weird, but I feel like I had the Noid, the memory of the Noid has just been ripped out of my brain. I don't remember the Noid. I remember him because of this game and people talking about it. And I've watched retro commercials since. But I mean, I watched tons of cartoons in the 80s and certainly the 90s. Sorry, I just my Zoom just popped up something, so that is terrifying. All right, never mind. All right, so wow, I love technology. If you listen to Retro Bliss, you'll get plenty of that. We're very incredibly likable and terrible at what we do. But I don't remember the Noid. I only know the Noid because I went back and watched commercials. And I watched tons of cartoons in the 80s and 90s. I should know the Noid. If they ever played a single Noid commercial for Domino's during an episode of the Ninja Turtles, then I should have seen it 100 times. But anyways, that being said, let me read my notes because there's not many. I wrote, annoying random fish. So in the first level, all right, so for my first instinct was, you know what? I don't think this is half bad. You know, as soon as you turn it on, it doesn't look half bad. The controls don't feel half bad. But it was by my second death. It's a one-hit death kind of game. It just is what it is. One hit kills, you get 3 lives, then it's game over. And from what I can tell, it takes you back to the start of the stinking level every time you die anyways. So it's truly one-hit deaths. But about the second time I died on one of these annoying random fish, I'm like, ugh. It's just one of those things, like, it doesn't need to be that annoying. They're just intentionally being annoying. Kind of like the character Noid himself. And then the second note I have is annoying rising water. The whole rising water mechanic just feels really cheap in that first level. It could have been cool, but I'm constantly jumping and trying to jump at the right time. And it looks like the water is already down where I should be fine, but a single pixel of water touched me, so I die. That's not great game design. Like, that just feels sloppy. But I did manage to finally beat the first level. I'll be honest, I started using save states because it's freaking hard. It's annoyingly, it's not hard in a good way. It's not one of the hardest games I've played, but it's like it pecks at you. It's a pecking at you kind of hard. But when you do beat the first level, so on all the odd levels, you know, the pizza game, and I'll be honest, I'm not sure how much Johnny and Andrew talked about this because I kind of just listened to the first bit of their part and the last bit of it to see if they mentioned me, because that's all I really care about. Just kidding. I'll go back and watch it later. But just for my take on the pizza mini game, first of all, I don't think I would have understood what was going on if I didn't look it up. But it's really simple once you know what's going on. But it's just like a basic math problem mixed with luck. I don't know. Like I feel like it's almost going for a minesweeper kind of feeling, kind of a mindless thing. It lengthens the game, it accomplishes that, but it is not a fun mini game. It's not exciting in any way. So I have to question the purpose of the pizza mini game. It's just odd. And now I'm wondering if the original Japanese game even had that in it. And if it did, I'm sure it was something besides pizza. You know, maybe I'm showing my ignorance. Maybe that's based on like an old Japanese children's game, like a playground kind of game. But it doesn't make for a super interesting game, mini game. Yeah, but it's okay. Once I figured it out, I was able to pass it. And then you had the skateboarding level. I wanted to like the skateboarding level, and it did break things up, but it reminded me too much of Skate or Die. Just the controls didn't feel great. It was okay. Again, like the first level, it was okay. And then after that, it kind of just starts repeating things. The enemies in the skyscraper level were really annoying. There was a couple of enemies that take like 5 or 6 hits. It might have been the third level where you're on ice the whole time. Again, I started using save states and I was able to clear it, but it was honestly too frustrating to play without save states. And that's not good because kids would not have had that. Nobody would have had that when the game came out. Again, it's not one of the hardest games I played. We played much harder for Retro Bliss. We just covered Metal Slug X. That was our last game we covered. Metal Slug X, if you don't give yourself unlimited continues, it's probably way harder than Yo Noid, but it's a good hard. It's your fault 99.999% of the time kind of hard. This just feels frustrating and annoying on purpose. To go over some positives, though, I actually do like, and I've stated this on the show a lot before, I like the real world setting in a video game. The cities, you know, like the rising water in the first level, it's like a city coastal kind of setting. Maybe I'm weird, but I actually prefer that in a lot of these old 2D games. The Ninja Turtle beat 'em ups are a great example. I like the city settings when you're on the beach, like in TMNT3 Manhattan Project. I love it when you're on the beach, like the Technodrome levels and stuff. And when you go to space, and I actually enjoy those less. I like the real world settings. And based on the first 3 or 4 levels, Yo Noid seems to be pretty much real world settings. I like that. But at the end of the day, it's just kind of meh. Like it's never very exciting. It's annoying at times. So as a game, you know, I still wouldn't, it's weird. So I still wouldn't mind covering it for Retro Bliss. So I don't know if I want to give a full score. I'm really doing this like a Retro Bliss episode. I want to give a full score. That's just who I am. I love scoring things. But I think I'll just say for now, it's a pretty meh game, but it's not horrible like you might expect a Domino's game to be. And that's because it's not really originally a Domino's game. But the question is, did we need this? And it's an emphatic no. It makes no sense as a Domino's game. And I did hear Johnny and Andrew, to be fair, talk about that. There's very little Domino's in this, just that annoying, ugly character. And I'm sorry if you love the Noid, but he's just ugly. He's the only Domino's thing in it that I could find. I'm going to keep plugging Retro Bliss. We did for our 50th episode, which was years ago at this point, we covered all the McDonald's games that were officially released on consoles, which at the time was 4, not counting any portable ones. And every one of those games, I think, did at least a little bit better job of being a McDonald's game than this is a Domino's game. And one of them, here's what I'm going to do. I recommend you don't play the Noid, and instead you play McDonald's Treasure Land Adventure for the Sega Genesis. Check it out. It's made by Treasure, published by Sega. First party game. Fabulous game. It's short. It's only 4 pretty long levels, but it's great. Go back and check out episode 50 of Retro Bliss to hear about all the McDonald's games. Honestly, I feel like they're all a little bit more interesting than this is, but it's not terrible, but we didn't need it. There are examples all around us of mixing brands that make sense. probably can't see it too well, but back behind me is the Lego Sonic building set. Come on, it's Lego and you build a Sonic, like a level of Sonic. I mean, it just makes sense. Right here we have the Mario Kart McDonald's Happy Meal toys, which you know, you've all seen. There's Luigi. I have a whole box of them here, all 8, because I'm a cool guy. But that just makes sense. It's toys, it's a McDonald's Happy Meal, kids love cars, and it's Mario Kart. But a pizza themed NES platformer, I don't know. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but we definitely did not need it. And I don't really have anything else to say. So goodbye, good luck, good riddance, good day, good God, how do I end this thing? Oh, there's the stop button. Okay.